Save the franchise, Star Trek edition.
Welcome to Nerd Happening.
Yes, welcome back. It's been a while, about 3 months.
Yeah, we took a little time off.
Little COVID break or something.
Yeah, something like that. Whatever. It is what it is. We're back, and it's great.
It is.
We're talking about Star Trek because, oh my gosh, the new stuff is ridiculously not Star Trek.
Yeah, and I think literally exactly what we were just talking about
Yeah,
is the problem.
a lot of it is. Yeah. I think. Go ahead.
It's not meant to be dark.
No. Star Trek is supposed to be utopian future, hopefulness.
Yeah.
The best of what mankind could be. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of the problem.
And it's not just that, because there is a lot of dark in Star Trek, but it's kind of
never
overshadowed.
But it's never the Federation starting the darkness.
No, it is, for sure.
No. I'm saying it's never the main characters that we're following
Oh, yeah, it's never that.
are always the ones who are stopping corrupt admirals or bad ideas within the Federation and doing it through the proper channels, not
For the most part, yeah.
going around, sneaking around, and trying to do things covertly
Nothing's underhanded.
or underhanded or outside of the bounds of the laws that have been created.
Yeah.
But some of the new stuff, oh my gosh, that's all it is.
It is very much them always standing up for the principles. That's a lot of
Right.
That's why I liked Voyager a lot too, because I don't know if you watch any of Voyager at all.
That's the one with Janeway, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that one was actually a pretty good series. I did catch quite a bit of it.
That's my favorite
I'm
one.
not the best Star Trek
not the most popular.
aficionado. Not
a Trekkie.
I do enjoy quite a bit of it, but I haven't, it's not something that has drawn me in, and I'm like, oh yeah, grew up on Next Generation.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to get, watched some of Deep Space Nine. I think it'd be more, like you were saying, be more interesting now that I'm older.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad is a huge Star Trek fan. My stepmom, huge into it, and they can't stand the new stuff.
It's different. Like what I was saying with Voyager, they're flying across the universe 75,000 light years, and the first thing she does is just blow up a space station that could send them home. But that's not what they do, because that would give the I think it was Kazon was coming for it, a big power imbalance.
Okay.
And then she's like, I can't do that. I can't condemn so many people just for us. And even throughout the whole thing, a lot of their laws and directives are you don't exchange technology.
Right. You don't interfere.
Yeah.
Unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah, but you don't give away Federation anything. And there's a parallel episode where another ship had been there, gotten pulled across the universe or the galaxy ahead of them, and they eventually meet up with them, and they did the exact opposite. They traded technology, whatever they could, but they were also on a really small science vessel that wasn't quite like Voyager was. And they're like, half our stuff doesn't work. Most of my crew's dead. What do you expect us to do?
Right. We have to survive somehow.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I really think the ideals of the Star Trek series are, how would we in a modern society approach actual intergalactic travel and discovery, and because we're definitely not going to be like the superpowers of old, like Great Britain, who settled everything and colonized everything. We've learned from that. So I don't know. Some of this new stuff is just crazy. I think Lower Decks, they saw the popularity of Futurama, Rick and Morty, and said, oh, we have a property that kind of fits into that sci-fi. Let's try to make something fit in that space. And it's like,
You can't copy a parody of what's being
Right.
like Futurama. A lot of that is just like Star Trek
oh yeah.
itself.
Yeah, there's a really good podcast I'll tell you about off air in which they compare Futurama episodes to Star Trek episodes and try to find matching.
Little similarities.
No, like this episode of Star Trek is
Oh, like it parallels it?
parallels this episode of Futurama.
That's awesome.
Like the first one they did was the one where Bender gets hooked on electricity
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
trades
yeah.
his soul to
The devil.
the devil.
Yeah.
And the episode of Next Generation where they come across a planet that is about ready to be destroyed or whatever, and it comes to find out that there is another alien that this society has traded their safehood to protect them from this. But in the end, she's the one that has created all of the bad.
Yeah, she had all the technology
yeah,
that made her
and-
look like a goddess.
Yes,
Yeah, I remember that
yeah,
episode.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And they're like, yeah, you just use transporters and replicators
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. And like Picard does the trial thing. And yeah.
Yeah.
Which that's a way, like, I think that the trial thing that always happens in Next Generation, that just seems to be the way that Picard likes to
Yeah,
solve issues.
he's more diplomatic.
Right. And that's what I think could be a good new Star Trek series is, okay, we've had a bunch of, like, we were just going over the timeline, and we've had a bunch of series about how humanity, like First Contact, Discovery, those types of shows about what happens in the early time. Well, let's have a show about how the Federation deals with diplomatic issues, right? Like, how do we introduce a new species to the Federation? How do we prevent war from breaking out between the Klingons and the Romulans or what have you? What diplomatic things can we do to protect the Federation from the Borg?
Yeah, I mean they've done a lot of that, but I was going through Deep Space Nine right now. I kind of forgot about the Dominion from the Gamma Quadrant
Okay.
because they're a whole another, the wormhole. They go on the other side, and
No, I don't. So, no. Like I said, I am not a big
Oh, okay,
Star
okay.
Trek
Well,
aficionado. I don't know a whole bunch about it.
the whole Deep Space Nine is it's an old Cardassian mining facility because Cardassia occupied Bajor, and it orbits Bajor.
Deep Space Nine is like a military outpost on the edge of Federation space kind of thing, isn't it?
It's an old mining facility.
Okay.
That's been retrofitted into a kind of weird hodgepodge of stuff. It has like a promenade with shops.
Yeah, the Ferengi were kind of big in the series.
Yeah.
And
Because
it's
Quark has a
more,
bar. But
it's less a ship that is traveling through space and more of...
no, it is a space station. It
Yes,
orbits
it's a
Bajor.
yeah, it's a stationary space station.
Yeah. But it's
But
by
it
the
is-
wormhole that appeared there.
Right, and it is protecting, like it is, like I was saying, it's an outpost
Yeah.
on the edge. It's like gosh, because so much of Star Trek is naval based and naval, like these are the new Navy ships, essentially. So it would be Deep Space Nine is more of a, what's the word I'm looking for? It was right there. Gosh, I hate getting old.
Because it's not quite a military base because civilians still come in, they transport, all that.
Like they were really big in the Caribbean. Fort, like a naval fort,
Kind
essentially.
of, yeah.
Right, where the inhabitants can come in and out, and you're providing protection to civilians in that quadrant.
Yeah, because
Or in that region.
they're the Federation presence that keeps the Cardassians
At bay.
away from the Bajorans,
Right.
basically. But there's the wormhole that appeared, and they're also kind of in charge of what goes through there.
Right.
And there's another faction on the other side in a different quadrant that's called the Dominion, which is kind of like the raiding force over there. And they have the Jem'Hadar, which are their soldiers that are
Oh, okay. So
genetically
you kind of have
bred.
like two countries essentially
yeah.
at a touching border or close to a border that touches where you have one group of individuals that believe differently than the group that we normally follow.
Yeah, because the Dominion are all
And
about
that's I
conquering.
think what made that show work is we're looking at something that's similar to the original and Next Generation, but from a different aspect.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm thinking with the diplomatic show is, you follow either a small group of diplomats or you follow a new species through the process or a combination or something like a procedural law show, but Star Trek.
yeah. We could do that. Could be exploring the other quadrant that hasn't been explored yet, really.
It's got to be better than Hidden Assassins in Picard or whatever's going on in that show.
Yeah.
I think that you could even do the cartoon, like the Lower Deck show, instead of it being low-ranking Star Trek or Federation
Officers or whatever.
officers
Like
or
ensigns or petty officers.
Yeah, exactly. Privates, that kind of thing, and the trouble they get into with the whacking incidents. You could do that with low-ranking officers, except it is solving problems for, like, follow the engineering department, follow the science department in the cartoon about how they, how they come up with a solution to Borg, and like, what do we do to stop the Borg from assimilating our ships? Oh, hey, we come up with blah, 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 blah. Or a scientific team that goes around and actually collects scientific data and the wacky hijinks that ensue from that.
You could also do.
I mean, come on, that'd be kind of funny watching a cartoon Star Trek where they go down to a recently discovered planet and they have to collect
just archaeology.
samples,
Yeah.
right? And like, there's always the animal that gives them a hard time. They're always getting stuck in some new kind of mud or something like that. Or they get frustrated. Why is it every time we come down to a planet, there's always some tyrannical dictator that we have to overthrow? That kind of thing. Like, that's...
Yeah.
I think that works as like an
Jeff's
adult.
always getting poisoned.
Exactly. The red shirt dies in every episode. Hey, we need a new red shirt.
Yeah.
He got eaten by a blah, 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 blah. Or he got stuck in da-da-da-da-da, or what have you.
You'd have to have episode like 20-something where they can't get anyone to transfer over there.
Yeah.
'Cause they're going to die.
Yeah, exactly. And they get, and two of the main men, I'm not putting on the red shirt. No, I'm not putting on the red. Somebody's got to put on the red shirt, guys. Flip a coin. I don't care how it happens. Like,
Yeah.
I think that works better
Yeah, that could be a good comedy
as a
animated
good
show.
comedy animated show that kind of is kind of satire on the series, but still making new ideas in the series and not just trying to satirize it all away.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind doing, because it doesn't have to be with Starfleet either. It could be, because private people own ships and things like that, and do,
Right.
like, in Voyager, 7 of 9, her real name's Annika Hansen.
Yeah, she was saved from the Borg, wasn't she? Like, she used to be a member of the Borg and was unassimilated.
Yeah, taken back. But her parents had their own private ship, and they were tailing the Borg forever, and that's how they found her.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, she kills a bunch of people in Picard, apparently.
Jeez.
Yeah, like Federation people. Yeah, kind of crazy what they did with Picard. Yeah. And that's fine. If you want to do a dark Star Trek, then let's go into the Klingon. And let's follow Klingon up until meeting the Federation and joining the Federation. Because that would definitely be a dark series.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not
it'd probably
following-
take place during the original series.
Exactly. Right? Because they want to do prequels and sequels. They don't want to just stick to
Yeah.
one or the other.
We'll go through the whole timeline.
Right, because we have Discovery. What was the other one we just saw that we were wondering where it took place in?
Discovery.
Right, and then there was
the
the one with Scott.
that's
back
Star Trek Enterprise.
Right. So we already have a couple of prequels, even to the original series. But in the original series with Kurt and everybody and Spock, the Klingons were one of the main bad guys. So let's do a show about that. Let's do a show about the Klingons during that time period.
That could be good because they in Enterprise they kind of they go over how the Klingons look more human-like than they do in Next Gen.
Right.
And that was kind of the fault of the super soldiers, I want to say, like what Khan was,
Okay.
an enhanced
Yeah, yeah,
human,
yeah.
because the Klingons tried doing that
Oh, okay.
and it infected them because it was meant for humans, and they became more
Right.
human. James Avery is actually a Klingon than that.
Oh, really?
Yep, he's in he's a couple episodes.
I might have to check some more of that out. I've seen a couple of episodes of it. And
It's okay.
And in all fairness, for most Star Trek series that I have tried to watch, it seems like it takes 3 or 4 seasons before it really finds its voice.
It's usually end of season 2, it really gets going.
End of season 2, beginning, like I think Generations, it was end of season 3, beginning of season 4, before everybody kind of settled in.
Yeah, Data's really different from in the beginning.
Yeah, much different than he was in the later episodes. Picard is much different. Riker didn't have the beard. Like,
But with them, there could always be a Klingon show. It's more the hostility between those who look more human and those who look more
yeah, I
original
mean, there's
Klingon.
all kinds of things that you could do with it,
Yeah.
right? You could do, you could do a thing where it's like a date, like we're following Worf's parents, for example, right? We're following Worf's dad because, at least from what I understand, there was quite a bit of animosity between Worf's family and the rest of the Klingon.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of
Yeah, there's a whole lot. Like his brother had been charged with something and imprisoned and da-da-da. So let's do a show about how that happened. Or,
I mean, they kind of already did.
no, I mean an entire show, not just a few stories scattered throughout a different series, but something like that. Right?
Oh, they could always call it do a show past called Age of Kahless, because he's kind of their godlike, their Jesus figure.
Right. Yeah, something
how
like
he-
that. Yeah.
And that could be more like that could be a cool series of don't believe the myth kind of thing. The man is not as great as the myth.
That,
Kinda thing,
that
yeah.
would be fantastic and a great character show. And that would be, oh my gosh, could you imagine like Breaking Bad type writing on a Star Trek show? Oh,
Be crazy.
how instead of watching how a man fails, how a man ascends, how he goes from being
Klingon warrior, basic
to
troop
a
to
Klingon god, essentially.
to being their prophet.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I think another great series would be, because obviously they want to do a whole lot of deconstruction stuff right now. So let's follow the cues. Let's see what it means to be a species that is essentially a god. And let's break down how they are not gods.
Like the Q.
Yeah. Oh, wouldn't you? I would love a series where we get, what's his name? The
As-
guy that
as a
played him
Q.
on Enterprise or Next Generation.
He's actually on every
He's in every season. I think every show.
he's on
think
every
he's
version of it except the originals.
So I say let's bring him in and do a show on what him and his species does. I mean, that'd be great.
It would.
You could do like other cues watching the trial that he put on in the first the first season of Enterprise, and going like, what does he do? Why does he interfere?
Yeah, he has that reputation for being that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's it like to be an outcast among the Q, or thought of as different among the Q? And what does the Q do? What is Q society like?
Yeah, it could. It'd be a good recap like a
It could,
no. Here's how you do it. You go. It's him talking to his son.
oh, that's a
Because
oh,
in
yeah.
Voyager,
telling his life story
Yep.
to his son.
him
Oh,
in,
that's a good idea.
in Voyager he mates for the first time in like eons
Mm-hmm.
when they produce the first new Q because another Q
Right.
dies.
Oh, okay. And they have a society where, okay, we only have X amount of us.
Yeah, because they're immortal. And that
Right.
one was like, I'm bored. I want to die.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's literally, he's like, I've done everything.
Right.
What do I do? I want to become a human and die. And then he kills himself. And then they make another Q.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be him going, let's take, you want to learn about being a god to people. And he could be
Right.
like, we're not really gods.
It could be, oh, this is off topic, but I think it would be a fantastic, I would like a late 80s, early 90s family sitcom of Q raising his son.
That'd be funny.
Oh, that'd be hilarious, wouldn't it?
That'd be great.
What are you doing? Put that planet back.
I just playing around, Dad. God.
Somebody changed the gravity in the Romulan sector again.
Put the laws of physics back, thanks.
No. You can't bring in that animal, whatever animal.
No dinosaurs that are supposed to have died out.
The lizard guys from the original series. He's trying to
The
bring
Gorn,
one home
yeah.
as a pet.
No, you can't have. You're not gonna feed it. Yeah.
I want that show now.
Like it'd be him sitting him down, play clips from the old episode. Like here's when I got turned into a human and thrown naked on the Enterprise.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like
Yeah. Imparting his wisdom to the next generation. Yeah, it'd be great.
raising his son. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an. You could do. It'd be cool. It wouldn't necessarily have to be a series, but like a 4-episode miniseries of someone about the Q, about the Klingons.
Right.
You do how the falling out of the Romulans and the Vulcans,
Mm-hmm.
because they're cousin species. They're the same
Yeah.
species. They're
Right.
just
They're
offshoots
just
of each other.
offshoots of each other. Yeah.
How that
Or do a movie on that. Do just a movie
Mm-hmm.
on what happened to cause that rift in their species.
ancient times, because
Yeah.
they
You could
predate
even
humans.
Could even put Spock in it somehow.
He wouldn't be old enough.
I know, but you could do it somehow. You could have it be his dad telling him about it or something. You could figure it out.
Sarek. Yeah, it could be definitely be a somebody descendant
Yeah.
or I mean an ancestor of Spock.
Or Spock telling the story to Kurt or something. Like, you could even put Spock in that somehow.
Kind of hard to put Leonard Nimoy into something now.
With the new technology, I mean, come on.
Deep fake him.
Yeah, we can deep fake him. We can. I mean, geez, oh, Pete, I watched. Which one was it? Civil War the other day. Again, because, oh, gosh. I haven't seen many of the new movies, but, man, I haven't even watched Hawkeye yet.
I haven't either. I still
You haven't watched Loki
No.
yet, so I don't even want to talk.
I don't care about it anymore. I'm so burnt out on it, and I'm just like
Something's going to come along, and you're going to go, okay, I want to know what's going on.
yeah.
I'm just betting it's going to be the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, definitely want to watch that.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
I feel like I'm gonna be.
we're getting off
disappointed.
topic. We're
Sorry,
getting off topic. Anyway,
put Spider-Man in Star
the
Trek.
reason I brought it up in the first place was that the footage of Robert Downey Jr. younger still looks fantastic. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
movie is what? 2012? 2014?
Something pretty close to around there.
It's got to be
Oh yeah, people put
5 years old.
pictures of young Robert Downey Jr. up to that, and they're like,
It's yeah.
oh,
And think about in 2014 if you had watched a movie, let's just say it's 2014. If you had watched a movie from 2008, 2009, you would have totally seen all of the CGI. Like if you go back and watch one of those movies now,
oh yeah, I know.
the CGI does not hold up. But
No, it
now
doesn't.
we're getting to the point where it does. I mean, even Age of Ultron, the fight between Hulk and the Hulkbuster still looks amazing,
Yeah,
right?
I think it.
So, in saying that, a lot of these processes could be applied to the Star Trek series.
I've got a great idea for this.
Go ahead.
you do not a I kind of taken this from Spock himself, someone who someone who's half Vulcan, half human, like Spock was,
Right.
but he's only ever lived among humans, and he goes to
So he's
Vulcan.
the opposite of Spock.
no, I mean he'd be yeah,
Because Spock only lived among the Vulcans.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he goes to Vulcan to learn about his
Right.
people, and they say, sit down, I'm gonna tell you.
Right.
They have a little story, and then
Yeah.
it comes back to real life, and he asks questions.
Right. And he's really emotional about it. Oh, yeah, that could be good.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the Vulcans, I mean, they get emotions, but they aren't.
They
emotions.
they
Yeah,
suppress them.
them very much so.
And it could
Yeah.
very much be him finding about who he is, and maybe teaching a certain kind of lesson to the Vulcans.
Right.
A back and forth to him and maybe an elder Vulcan,
Yeah, that could be very good.
saying, the old ways aren't always the best, kind of thing.
Right. Oh, yeah, that could be about how maybe why the Vulcans suppress their emotions. Maybe that is why they don't.
But I mean,
Maybe
he could
they're-
start from when Vulcan and Romulan split apart.
Right. But I'm saying
Yeah.
that maybe that the reason, like, he needs to be told about why the Vulcans and Romulans split apart because up until that point they had been very emotional. And that had caused this rift, and they don't want it to happen again in their society. So both suppress emotions because the Romulans suppress emotions also, correct?
Not
As
really,
much.
because they're still very orderly and to the point, but they do feel rage and they do feel emotion.
Right.
They're not at the same level.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is that they still suppress
Yeah.
quite a bit.
They're probably somewhere in between us and Vulcans.
Right.
Somewhere in there.
Right. Yeah, that could be super interesting.
Yeah. Like I said, they could do a 4-episode on all of the different races.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be
great.
great. Like an hour-long special on each one or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. But the way the movies are going, that's not the way to do it. We're remaking Wrath of Khan. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that was terrible.
Oh, it was awful. The first Star Trek movie that J.J. Abrams made was not bad. It wasn't great.
Yeah. Too many
It
lens
wasn't
flares, but
bad. I've come to, I think that what J.J. Abrams excels at is starting a story. He is fantastic at the first half of something,
yeah.
leaving all these plot threads, setting up payoffs for later, that kind of stuff. He is awful at tying them together.
Bad at the follow through.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do. I wanted to like the new Star Trek movies, but
Oh,
I
I
just
so did.
I don't.
I so did.
Wrath of Khan, the second one, doesn't make sense unless you see Wrath of Khan. Like when
Yeah.
he's in the cell and he's like, where he's like, I am Khan and my name's Khan. You're like,
and the characters are all wrong. Like Spock getting that upset and that emotional,
no,
like
that
that would
wouldn't
never
happen.
happen, even at that young of an age.
but like,
like-
the Khan thing, Kirk should have been like, who? Mm-hmm. Because Kirk is the one who found them. That was part of the original. Like that
the
was
one-
the tie-in.
The one thing that I could say to be a reason for the new Wrath of Khan being made is that in the first movie with the Nemesis or whatever it was called, going back in time, it split the timeline.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? But they still have, like, Spock met his older self and introduced Kirk to his older self, essentially. Right? So they could have had information.
they could
But-
have, but he didn't have. Khan would have never been around because Kirk would have never
Right.
found him.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Khan, who?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't have known.
Oh, here's a great idea for one. What's the race that Whoopi Goldberg's character was? The listening, the ones that live forever. or whatever.
They don't live forever. They live a long time.
A very, very long time.
Very long lived.
And they were caught in that. They were the subject of a movie.
They were
They were the subject
wiped
of
out.
generations.
Yeah, they were wiped out almost by the Borg.
Right. And then they made it into the the Rift or whatever it was called, the place that was pure joy, and they were trying to get back. That was what kick-started the plot line in Generations.
I haven't seen that. I almost don't remember that.
That's how.
I haven't watched it. Guinan, that's her name.
Yeah, she is.
I don't remember them ever saying what her race was.
No. It's in there. It starts with an
Species. Oh, Aryan.
A. Yeah. It's why Q knows her.
Yeah,
Her and Q
they do
know
that
each other.
thing.
Yeah. Is because of their, like, they have a little bit of
tension
between
You
them.
don't really
because
know because they never
each
say
other.
it.
She knows him and he knows her,
Yeah.
and they know why they don't dislike each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a story. There's a series. Let's follow them. How did they end up meeting the Borg? Like, how did the Borg destroy them? Like, what is the rift? What was it called? Gosh, I can't remember. Look up plot of Star Trek Generations. Jamie, pull it up, Jamie.
It's saying a giant energy field, presumed dead years later.
It doesn't say it.
I have to watch this again.
It was pretty good.
I haven't.
I did watch it just recently. The Nexus.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
The
Where
Nexus.
Picard meets. I had this mixed up with something else.
Yeah.
Picard meets.
But yeah, let's do something on the Nexus and what the heck the Nexus is and how the species, like, is there multiple species in there?
Probably.
Like, I mean, whatever their Whoopi Goldberg's people were called, were really trying to get back into that dang thing. Mm-hmm. And she's even in the movie, she said herself, it was like withdrawing from something like a drug. It's like pure joy, I guess, or whatever.
You do. It'd be very much a Garden of Eden kind of parallel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kicked out of paradise.
Yeah. Like have you seen the Good Place show?
Mm-mm.
It's kind of a case study. It's kind of like a philosophical. It's got Kristen Bell, Ted Danson.
Move this a little bit on here. I don't know if it's connected because I keep hearing
Yeah, I keep hearing it too.
I don't know what that is.
It's something with my speaker.
Maybe I need to get a new cord.
I don't know.
These were not expensive, so
Is that? Anyway.
yeah, it might be the microphone itself.
Yeah, because I'm hearing it when you talk too. Anyway. It kind of an interesting show. Pretty good. Pretty good show about why. Because it's about 4 people who die and they end up in the bad place, hell essentially, and heaven exists and there's an in-between, and why heaven would be not good and why hell is not good and how people get, anyway. But yeah, do something like that for Star Trek, where like there are these places in the universe that we've discovered that are the epitome of everything good and everything bad. Do a show on the Federation prison system.
That'd be that'd be a different thing. Yeah.
It'd be interesting. There's so many
Oh, there's a lot of avenues you can go down for sure.
threads to pull at. And it's kind of the deal with Star Wars also, is like we keep going back to the same well when there are a lot of wells to take from.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I
kind
like
of the problem with everything pop culture right now.
because nothing's new and we're just
Right.
derivative of everything else.
Everything, yeah.
Like I was talking to Kane about something. I can't even remember what it was. It was a scene from a movie because he's never seen Predator, Terminator,
Yep.
Blade Runner. I named off all these older movies that are kind of staple movies. And I mentioned a few things, and he's like, I don't even know what that is. I'm like, you've seen it parodied a million times.
Yep.
like in something's parodied it, parodied one of these movies.
Pop culture will make more sense to you after you see it.
Yeah.
I've been having that discussion with my 16-year-old quite a bit lately also.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Oh, it's
because there's
upstairs.
just so many moments where like she'll be watching a show and I'll be watching over her shoulder or whatever, and she'll laugh at a moment, and I'm like, "Do you even know why you laughed at that?" Well, it was funny. Yeah, but why was it funny? Because it's funny to me on a much deeper level. Because I understand
where it came from. Oh, I
the
remember
history
what it was.
of it.
The Dirty Harry, did I fire 5 shots or 6?
Yeah,
I'm like, you've seen that parodied at some point
yeah.
a million times.
Make my day, punk.
Yeah.
And they know the answer. Luke, I am your father. My kids know the line, but don't know where it came from.
It's actually, no, I am your father.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying. It's
But yeah,
that
yeah,
kind
they,
of thing.
they don't know it.
Yeah. And we have watched, and I have watched Star Wars with them multiple times, and they still don't know that Darth Vader is the answer to who said that. Or why it's a big deal. I don't think the attention, I think that we're going to see going forward, essentially 10 to 15 minutes are going to be the attention
It already is.
span of everybody.
It already is. I noticed that when, and as Cartoon Network, as I kind of grew out of it, out of my, it shifted. Because like I was kind of like the last generation of, and kind of moving over into shifting into 15-minute programs.
Oh, I hated those 15-minute long shows.
That's what a lot of them are, and they play them
Oh,
back
yeah.
to back.
Yeah.
That's-
I don't understand how people can watch it. Like Metalocalypse, I love
Oh, it's hilarious.
it because it's hilarious. And but Aqua Teen Hunger Force, ugh,
Some of those are hilarious, though.
they have hilarious jokes.
Yeah.
But
I
you
actually
don't
like
have
it,
enough
but-
time in 15 minutes
Yeah.
to get to know somebody. But that is a joke for in Rick and Morty series, like the 15-minute long show is a joke because they're the only half-hour long show on Adult Swim anymore. And so there's a running gag about how, oh yeah, dogs talking, 15 minutes. No, yeah, I would totally watch a show on that, especially late night on some cartoon channel. Yeah,
That's great.
it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. And it's even with like you just watch things like YouTube is more long form. Sometimes. And then it's a lot of the sweet spot of YouTube is 20 minutes.
Right, 20
Plus,
minutes
plus
to an
or
hour.
yeah, 20 minutes plus or minus 10 minutes
Well, it's kind of,
for a lot of like gaming or certain
I think
things.
it's one way or the other. It's either, because right now you either have a 15-minute long episode or an hour-long episode.
yeah.
Like the half-hour long show is gone.
yeah.
I mean, Better Call Saul is an hour. I mean, like Sons of Anarchy was an hour, but it should have been a half hour. Like each episode should have been a half hour long.
Probably, yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing with movies, where you either make a $5,000 independent movie that makes money, or you make a $250 million summer blockbuster style movie, and that makes money. The things in the middle are gone.
They really are.
Like, could you imagine Die Hard being made today?
No, not even Terminator.
No.
Terminator is such a low budget movie, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They Live wouldn't get made. Like, so much of what was, because it doesn't appeal to a large enough audience. Because you don't just need New York and LA and Miami to go see a movie now. You need either 100 theaters to play it and have it be the cost of 100 theaters, or every single theater in the world.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I think like that's kind of your Marvel burnout is
Well,
that it is.
Marvel Burnout's just because it's been.
We're on
going
what,
on
our
for so long.
fourth Marvel movie this year? Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi, and Spider-Man
Yeah, that'll
came
be
out
coming
this year. And then we had WandaVision, Captain America, and Winter Soldier,
Mm-hmm.
Loki, and now we have Hawkeye. So we've had 4 big budget movies and 4 TV series, and that's not counting like the internet or like the YouTube 10-minute long series or the 2 Hawkeye or the 2 Hulu series that are cartoon.
Yeah, I think. Well, a lot of that too is just it's been around. The MCU has been around for over a decade now, and it's been like
made
that.
all the money. That's the problem. It made all the money, so now everybody wants one. Because we're not counting Venom, we're not counting any of the Fox stuff or the Sony stuff that ties in, quote unquote, into the MCU.
I also don't want Star Trek to end up like that too, where I'm like, because it's getting there where I'm like, I don't care about this as much.
Yeah.
I watch the old stuff, but none of the new stuff appeals to me.
Because
really.
it's not the old stuff appeals to you, at least in my opinion, because it was unique. Nobody else was doing it, and it was decently to good writing. The new stuff, I think, doesn't appeal to anybody because everybody is trying to figure out the Marvel formula.
That they are.
Right? How does Marvel write a movie that succeeds? Is it diversification? Is it big explosions? Is it lens flares? Is it
It's not lens flare. It's never lens flares.
and what they're not, and what everybody is failing to understand is the reason the MCU is working is it's taking beloved characters and writing new and unique stories with those characters that have just enough nostalgia to get everybody kind of in the door, and then they go, "Oh, I didn't see that coming because I was thinking it was going to be this."
Yeah, they really do. They do, like because after reading comics, you watch the movies, you go, "Oh, that's from this."
Yep.
But it's also different enough that it's a
We
whole
do
new
it
movie
all the
yeah,
time on
yeah,
this show.
yeah,
Yes. Oh, they took this from there.
yeah.
And but nothing else has
Yeah, Star Trek doesn't
the
have that, per se.
catalog that Marvel has to pull for except for DC,
Yeah,
right?
because it already was a TV and movies. It was never a comic.
Right. So what they need to do with these, like a series like Star Trek, is they need to take the chance and write the new stuff. Everything needs to be something new and unique that explores that universe more in depth. And then once because that's what 50 years of comics did, is it fleshed out the universe. Star Wars needs to do the same thing. That's why Mandalorian was so good. Everybody thought Mandalorian was so good. Is it was, this is what I want to see in Star Wars.
Oh,
I want to see
not just Jedis.
I want to see these other people and how they function in this universe. That's what Star Trek needs to do. We need to see other people and how they function in that universe. We have quite a bit of the Federation and how the Federation functions. So it needs to split off from the Federation and give us a shopping channel with the Ferengi. You know?
That'd be great.
Wouldn't that be kind of great?
That'd be
right?
hilarious.
Make it a book. Make it a comic.
Oh, a funny little.
Make it a cartoon.
You know, in Cowboy Bebop, how they have the Bounty Hunter channel. You just flash that on the screen as somebody like.
Yeah, have
Does
that
it.
be in the
Yeah.
background of the Klingon movie or
Just
episode.
at a-
Just
at a
at a
bar.
random moment. Yeah.
Oh, there's Racquetball or
Yep.
Hollow Sweet
Ferengi
Ball.
Shopping
Ferengi
Channel.
Shopping Channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That kind of thing. Build the world. The sandbox has been made, and now somebody needs to go in and build the sandcastles.
Yeah, I actually think Star Trek needs to go back to the original formula of Star Trek, which was exploring new things and finding adversity and exploring it in a future setting, but of what's going on now, without being so very direct and overt. Like,
and that's kind of what I'm saying they need to do a little.
yeah,
Is that okay? We have issues in the real world that are issues.
yeah, we
So,
always will.
Let's see how, because like the race stuff right now is really big in the public domain, right? The Vulcan series and Romulan series about how they split would be a great opportunity to take that subject and apply some of the stuff to what happened between. Like, that's very easily the way
Oh yeah,
that things could turn out.
yeah. We could just take one person to go over that and say, well, you say all this stuff about your differences, but you're
Right.
really the same. Yeah.
Take right now, there is a big discussion in the public discourse about whether one country is going to remain a superpower and another one is going to rise up. So take that to the diplomacy series and apply that where maybe the Federation is looking like it might be going downhill a little. And there's this other group that is gaining power.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, could be.
And you can use those things to tell these unique stories.
Yep.
And tell it from both sides. Some of the best episodes of Generations, because the internet was just coming out, is artificial life really life?
Oh yeah.
Those are some of the most memorable discussions on that.
One of my favorite episodes. I call it the Four Lights episode, where Picard's captured by the Cardassians, and he's being tortured. Do you know the episode by chance?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're being tortured, and he said, there are 5 lights, and he says there are only 4. And the Cardassian has his kid come in, and he's like, you would subject your kid to seeing someone tortured like this? And he's like, the Cardassians, you're below us. You're an animal to us. And then he says, when you teach a child to disregard one person's life, he can disregard even yours.
Right.
And I believe that that's a very good insight into the Cardassian mind frame and their society.
Exactly.
But it's just a glimpse. Having more of that would be kind of cool.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, is that everybody wants it seems like every single studio and TV station and what have you, network, goes, okay, we have these legacy properties. How can we turn them into Marvel?
Yeah, really, that's what it is.
Right? And they don't really have the legacy property that Disney acquired with Marvel. They really didn't.
No.
And B, they are trying to fast track it, and Marvel took its time. I think that's part of the reason
that's why DC
people
failed.
are getting burned out on Marvel stuff right now. Like, that's gonna happen. I haven't seen Hawkeye. I haven't seen Eternals. I haven't seen Shang-Chi. Whatever.
Shang-Chi. Yeah.
I really wasn't a big fan of Black Widow. And I will probably not catch up on those unless I have to.
Same here.
Because I kind of got the general gist of what's going on now.
Yeah, the Eternals I haven't seen it, but it's a movie I don't think needed to be made. Same thing with Black Widow at this point.
I think you have to make Eternals a little. But
I
that's
think
a topic for another show.
It's a movie
we could totally talk about that for an hour.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Star Trek.
But it's like Rogue One didn't need to be made.
Right. But Rogue One at least took a chance. Solo at least took a chance to tell new stories.
Yeah, to expand the universe.
To expand the universe a little bit.
I think Solo would have done better.
I think Solo would have done better if it wasn't Solo.
Yeah, it wasn't Han Solo doing
If that was a different character, a new character, decent idea for a movie.
it. It is.
It's not a bad idea.
I still want it to be a flashback movie.
I don't want another Luke Skywalker movie. I don't want another Solo movie. I don't want anything like that. The only one that might be kind of interesting, taking place within the universe as it exists now, is what happened from the end of the Empire to the beginning of the New Order. How did the rebels drop the ball that badly?
Yeah,
That's
that
basically
didn't
it.
make sense. How they went from
Yeah.
being on top to
Right back to the bottom.
being rebels again.
Yep. That's the only really interesting one that I can think of that I would want in that series at all.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you follow Carrie, maybe you follow Princess Leia, maybe. But even that, I don't even think I want to follow Princess Leia.
I would say
I think I want to see her in a couple of scenes interacting,
maybe be referenced.
maybe
something.
reference something
Yeah.
like that. But I want new characters.
Yep. Oh, this comes from General Leia. This is her
Yep.
orders. Yeah.
Yep. Something like that. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek, same kind of idea.
I would love to see maybe a Maquis show from Star Trek. They're kind of like the rebels.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of a rebel faction, and that'd be kind of cool. Or seeing Rogue Trader kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
People smugglers, stuff like that. Other factions that aren't part of the Federation.
I want to see because science and engineering have always been such a big part of Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a show about designing and building the new ship.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see why we can't get the Klingon. What's the Klingon? Bird of
Bird of
War,
Prey.
Bird of Prey. Why we can't have that technology.
That's already
I
established.
want to see why we can't have cloaking technology, like the Romulans.
They technically do. It's on the
And
Defiant.
I don't mean. I want to know why these ships are so dangerous to us. In that, like, we seem to be on par with keeping up with everybody. We seem to have weapons that are fairly similar.
Yeah.
It seems like if one species had a cloaking device, is it like a nuclear weapon?
No, they have a treaty, and
But you know what
the
I'm
Federation abide by it, except for on the Defiant.
Mm-hmm.
They can use the Defiant's cloaking device is a Romulan cloaking device,
Right, but it's not
but they can't
a
use it.
Federation cloaking device.
No, there is an episode.
That's what
of
I'm
Next Gen.
saying is
Yeah.
I want to know why we can have these other scientific discoveries, but we can't get those.
They can.
What makes them so special?
because there's a
No, I'm saying
there's
why
laws.
can't we create them?
They can. There was a
Like
whole
you just said, it's a Romulan cloaking device,
Yeah,
which
because
means
they're-
they took it off a Romulan ship.
no, it was given to them because
Okay.
they're not allowed to
But
make
what
it,
I'm saying
but they
is
can make it.
that's what I'm saying. Why can't we make it? That's what I'm saying.
They physically can do it. I can make
That's
a ham
what I'm
sandwich,
saying is yes. I'm
but
saying
there is a law against it in their treaty.
that okay, I
Yes.
get it. That's what I'm saying. I want to see why those things
Oh, what
came
brought
up,
that? What made that about?
brought
Okay,
it
I get what you're
about?
saying.
Why we can't? Why can they do it and we can't?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
I really think a great Star Trek show would be Law and Order Star Trek Edition.
I don't know.
I'm not kidding. That would be fantastic.
Maybe.
What does the laws look like in this world?
Mm-hmm.
How does the judicial system function? That was a great topic that was brought up on the podcast I was telling you about earlier.
How the Star Trek laws work?
Like, why is Picard allowed to just do a trial whenever he wants? And what are the laws? These people signed a contract with this other species. Like, how can Picard, a ship captain, just decide that contract is null and void? Like, what are the laws of this
It's called the law of
Federation?
plotter,
You know what
right?
I'm saying? Like, we have the
Yeah.
Prime Directive. But what other laws exist? Right?
Mm-hmm.
If obviously we're allowed to shoot at other people if they shoot at us, or other species if they shoot at us,
Mm-hmm.
but is there some rule about provoking the other party into shooting you? Like, no, you can't hit me. Like,
Probably, yeah.
you
there
get
is.
in trouble for that. Like, that's what I'm saying is that this stuff needs to be fleshed out more.
I don't know. I think they kind
Or
of try that in Star Wars and the prequels and the Senate debates.
and what do you think about them now?
That shit is still
They are
boring.
much better than what we originally thought. And that's what's going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? Look at the 60s Spider-Man. It's hokey as all get. Come on, could you really imagine sitting down and reading 1940s Superman and being entertained by it? Imagine sitting down, and this is something I challenge anybody to do in this day and age. Sit down and watch a movie from the 60s. And I don't mean like one of the big budget, like one of the ones that have survived the test of time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Watch an everyday movie.
just an everyday movie.
Yeah.
You will be bored out of your mind within
Yeah.
15 minutes.
I
Because we're
imagine.
not designed to that. Like for whatever reason, we burned out that part of our brain where a slow burn works. Like slow burns don't really work on us anymore. Right?
Not quite as much. Every
But
generation loses a
without
little
that
bit.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Then we don't have Batman. We don't have Superman. Superman was the hero of hope because that's what he was built up to be in the older ones. And you're allowed, and just like with the Marvel characters and stuff, you're allowed to go, no, we're not going to keep this. Like Hank Pym beating his wife.
Yeah.
We kind of
Kinda
just,
can't do that anymore.
right?
Let's not do that.
We just don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
But
Trial and
somebody
error.
has to build it.
Yeah.
Hank Pym's wife being stuck in the quantum realm does not work unless there is a pop culture knowledge that they had a decent relationship or were together for a long time.
I think the Law and Order Star Trek,
I think that'd be fantastic.
as long as it's more, I guess if it worked like how the trials do in Star Trek, where it does a lot of flashbacks and real life acting.
It is totally prison or a Federation judicial ship driving around the different galaxies, and they send the two cops out in a transport down to the planet to pick up and to do the interviews and to do all this stuff. Like the first half of Law and Order is following the police,
That's true.
getting
yeah.
the information. The second half is the lawyers and how the court works, right? So do that in a Star Trek, right? Okay, Federation is a huge, vast expanse, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of planets and all that.
And if you agree to be a part of the Federation, right, there are certain, like some of your rules
Oh, yeah.
change,
There's different rules for everything.
right? I mean, they try to leave people alone as much as possible and try to like keep your culture, keep your stuff, but these are the rules now, right? So show that like they would have to have a ship or multiple
that would
ships
there's be
that go to the various planets
to suss out things like that.
to suss out things like that,
That does make sense. They'd have like a judge ship.
right? Where they would have investigators and lawyers, and everybody's given a lawyer or whatever, you know. Maybe the lawyers trade places. Maybe 1 week you're a prosecutor, the next week you're a defense attorney, what have you. Maybe the judge is the computer, and you input the information, and they have a special computer program that susses out the truth, like something you can't lie to or what have you. Like, let's see that. Let's figure that out. That would be an interesting series.
I think something cool for that would be in the first episode, you have an old judge, because people in Star Trek, humans live to be like 150.
Right.
You have someone who's 135. He's like, in the first episode or two, he's like, I'm getting old. I need my replacement.
Right.
Here's a young guy who's 35.
Right.
I need to train him.
Right.
And he has to go, I'm kind of bitter. I've seen the worst in people. I don't want you have to be strong for this.
Right.
Same.
Or we have the 135-year-old who knows that when he retires, he is going to be replaced by this computer. And he doesn't think that this computer is going to be as impartial as he is. So he is trying to prove that he is that the human mind has to be, or the species mind, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah. He doesn't have to be, he could be
has to be
Andorian or
behind the
whatever.
bench, and that a computer can't do it.
There's someone who can pick up on nuance and
Right.
not ruin someone's life over
Right.
a technicality.
Right.
Yeah. That'd be a good show.
Or I want in one episode them to come up against another judicial ship
Mm-hmm.
who has gone to the computer, but the computer is shaped like the robot judge from Futurama.
That'd be
and-
amazing.
Or
Ah,
has the voice
I
from
wish-
the
I wish-
robot Futurama.
I wish
judge.
James Avery was still alive so he could do that voice for
Oh,
the
wouldn't
computer.
it be fantastic?
That'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
Judge Banks.
Yeah.
Judge Computer Banks.
Yes. But yeah, that would be a really interesting series, I think. And
Yeah, it
you
would
can
be.
and you could spin it
Yeah.
off into different ones. You could do just like Law and Order has 15 different types of Law and Order,
Yeah, it does.
something like that. You could do the same thing, and there is your series. There is your long-term interconnected Marvel Cinematic Universe in a network TV style format.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine Star Trek SVU? His tentacles were all over me.
Don't ask where.
Yeah, wouldn't that would be insane
Yeah, that'd be
and
crazy.
probably pretty decent because it's relatively easy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just kind of take real world stuff and just kind of
Yeah, because when you think about Star Trek, they're always on ships.
mhm.
Everybody's pretty well vetted.
Yep,
Nothing like SVU is going to happen on
right,
on the Enterprise.
right.
Yeah,
But it has to happen.
yeah. But then there's regular people, someone
Right.
who goes to another planet, and then
Right.
yeah,
Or
could say-
other planets. What if you run into a society that thinks that getting married at 5 years old is perfectly acceptable? And that you marry somebody who's 50 years your senior,
yeah. Or
right?
certain kind of touching is okay with them, but not
Right.
with you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Different customs, how they.
Like, how do you handle that stuff?
Mhm.
That would be super interesting
Yeah.
and go a long ways towards building that world.
Mm-hmm. It would. Yeah.
And there's all kinds of ideas like that
who
that
owns
could exist.
who owns Star Trek?
Paramount
The
Pictures.
Paramount.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna send this podcast to them.
Yeah, and our DC ones to DC.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be great. To Warner, Time Warner, I think
Yeah,
owns them.
and Marvel. Hey, Feige, if you're listening, we can help out with some of
Yeah.
the Marvel stuff too.
That'd be great.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I want to know how do I get paid to just come up with ideas for this kind of thing? Like, I just
Be an
wanna
idea
get
man. That'd be
paid
great.
to be idea man.
That'd be great. Be the perfect job.
Yeah.
I'd love it. Every minute of it.
Oh yeah, it'd be fantastic.
Mm.
Oh hey, we have this. How do we make this work here? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you luck into something like that.
I don't know if you luck into it. I don't know if it's a skill, because I run into lots of people who can't do this kind of stuff, who can't pitch things, who can't come up with
Stuff on the spot.
not just stuff on the spot, but decent to good. And maybe I just think it's decent to good because it's my idea.
'Cause it's
By
what's-
all means, in the
We're having fun.
comments,
Talk about it. Yeah.
email us, get a hold of us, like, comment, subscribe,
Tell us how wrong we are.
tell me how bad I am at this.
Yeah. Helps the algorithm too.
What else? No. We care about you, the viewers at home, and the listeners. We're not hoping to get monetized at all.
But one day. One day. A couple of years.
Oh, this is what everybody's going to have to do in 20 years. In 20 years, every single person is going to have to be a podcaster, a YouTube celebrity, and Instagram.
We kind of had a trial run with that with COVID.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that
Yeah.
everybody is going to have to, because jobs like you and I work will not be there.
No. It'll be
You will be,
automated.
well, not only will it be automated, but it will be, we'll all be independent contractors so that the companies can do whatever they want to do.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. On that positive note,
Yeah, it's about an hour and 15. I'd
Yeah.
put about 10 minutes out of the.
yeah, I mean, I think
Original
Star
stuff.
Trek has got a huge amount of potential.
Yeah, it's got a big bank. It's got a big well it can draw from.
Oh, and there's so many things that have been left untapped.
Oh, yeah.
So let's do something else. Let's not destroy the past
Mm-hmm.
like Picard is apparently doing. Let's make a hopeful future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it's always been
Yeah,
about.
Yeah. All right.
Let's not Star Wars this, and Kylo Ren ourselves here. God, I hate those god awful movies.